cards out your side, Noah.
You got lucky this time.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Whose is this then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. No, you're playing the pile.
Okay, look. You can either pick that because it's a spade, or you can pick that because it's a 3. Okay? Here's what you want to do. You want to pick this one because you have a lot more of these to get rid of. Okay? All right, here.
3.
Hold your cards.
Yeah. But he hasn't won yet. Yeah. Guess who's gonna win this round? Okay, don't take this much cards this time. You're supposed. You have to run out of cards. So I was literally helping you. The item in this whole game. Thank you. The best item to have in this game is an 8.
Noah, it's your turn. You need either a king or a heart. Which one you got?
I'm not this big king.
Bro, that's not a king or a heart.
Bro. Well, I have a diamond.
Yeah.
I'm not this big, but it's mine.
Good job. Alright, so the plan was to drop this skid steer off and pick up the one that I have here and bring that back home, because that's the one I'm selling. Alright, so here's a size comparison between the two. That one's 8,000 pounds and that one's 7,000. There's not much of a difference between them. This one looks slightly smaller, but it's not even a whole class smaller. It's a half a class smaller. So that's got an Isuzu engine and that's got a Yanmar engine. Yanmar is slightly better, but Takeuchi is a really good brand. Gale is actually Takeuchi too, which is also Mustang, which is also now Manitowoc too. So they're made from the same company. Back then they might have been different, but now they're made from the same company. This is like a 2006, that's like a 94. Not sure, I'm not totally sure on either one of those. I'm just speculating that's where I've narrowed it down to. But basically the idea is that that one was working fine up here, but I have a massive amount of work to do. I need to clear a 600-foot road 30 feet wide back there, and I'll get into that in another video. But basically I need to bring the dozer up, I need to use this and Hitachi behind me, and that would have done it, but this was gonna do it a little bit faster. And my dad was looking for a skid steer, so I traded him for a piece of property. So let's go bring that Takeuchi to him, get him set up with that, and then let's go take a look at the piece of property. Just gotta go. More? Good. The look on your face says you were pretty scared.
It was going really high up in the air.
Yeah.
Where the heck is the pin?
Did you know that I built those ramps?
What?
I built those ramps.
You did?
Yeah, from scratch.
I thought that you bought it that way.
Nope. Yeah, it is. Where is it? It's over on the other side. You know, the starter, the bolts, let me show you the exhaust. I just realized that there's an exhaust leak.
Should I close this or leave it ajar?
You can, it doesn't matter.
Okay, it's locked.
Right on this elbow right here. Crack right there.
That crack right there. See the crack right there?
It leaks exhaust out of there.
I can,
so it
yeah,
goes
that's
up
it.
into the cab and it's Ready to go over to the property?
Yes.
Alright, so me and Noah are heading over to that new property that I got. I got that quite a while ago. We closed several months ago on that property, but I just haven't gotten an opportunity to go over there. But I have a couple of free moments, so I want to go over and scout things out. I have an idea of what I want to do to the property, so let me get over there and just reassure myself that I can do that on this property, because it's definitely set up different than the other property, which is across the street. So I guess give you a couple scenic shots along the way and then we'll get there. Uh-oh. No, it's raining. Does that mean we gotta turn around?
Are you kidding? No, we're not doing it. We're going.
That's what I think too. Let's keep going.
Are you already here?
No. Another 10 minutes we'll be there. Lots of farmland around here. It's like a totally different world out here. It's nothing but fields. Alright, so we're here, and there's not really a place to park except for the driveway that I put in right here. Which is overgrown now. Man. Definitely is overgrown. Alright, so 3 or 4 years ago I put in a driveway here. This is the first piece of property I bought here. This is 3 acres. And you can see that fabric doesn't prevent weeds. But that's because I use crusher run on the top, and there's fines in the crusher run, and this stuff just grows right in it. Look, I got maple trees growing in here.
When did you make this road?
I made this quite a while ago. You were still in diapers when I made this road.
Oh.
Yeah. So this driveway is definitely overgrown since then. So to give you guys a bearing, we are heading north right now. But look at this. We cleared this area out, and it's since grown back with all these flowers. That's kind of neat, actually. So this whole area we cleared right up until that tree line. We just left these couple trees here, and we just kind of cleared around here just to have a place to kind of turn around vehicles and stuff, park a trailer or whatever, just to get off the road, because there's no shoulder on the road, so there's no place to park over there. But anyways, enough about this property. That's not the focus of this video. The focus of this video is going to be across the street on the new property. So this property here is 3 acres. That one's just under 2.5 acres. But it's a grandfathered in building site, so it doesn't matter how many acres it is. So on this property, I only have, I can't remember honestly, but I think it's like 150 foot of road frontage. On that property, we have more like 300 feet of road frontage. So let's walk over here and see what we can figure out. So right off the bat, one thing that we got to consider with this property is that the electric pole is on the other side of the property right there. So easy access for that property, not so much for this one. We're gonna have to get the power company to put in a pole to cross the street, or we can go off grid, which I'm highly considering. That's a good start right there. Nice cherry tree. Cherry tree. Seeing lots of cherry, locust, a little bit of ash, lots of maple, no oak. Wow, there's a lot of cherry tree over here. I wonder if it's worth milling some of this stuff. But anyways, you can see that there's a slope, and it slopes down to a wet area down there. So I think one of the first things we got to figure out is where we are on the map, and we got to figure out our 100-foot boundary from there to the septic, because you need a minimum of 100 feet from there to the leach field for a septic system, and then a minimum of 50 feet to the tank, which usually isn't a problem. So one thing that is already seeming very annoying is that there's some barking dogs over there. I remember that from last time, and I don't remember them being this bad. But luckily this isn't a place where I'm gonna live. So the most important question is probably gonna be, what am I doing with this property? So the plan is to put a tiny house on this property, set up like a homestead, possibly off grid, and the goal is to build and sell that as quickly as possible, take all the money from those proceeds, put it all into the property across the street, and then build something much bigger and more elaborate. And the whole goal is not to take out any kind of loans or anything. Start out, spend minimal money here, maybe use a sawmill a lot, and use trees off the property and trees that I already have. Do as much as I can without having to buy too much materials. Sell it as quickly as possible to somebody, and I'm going to build it in a way where it's easy to put an addition on, and it's kind of built for an addition in the future. That way somebody that's renting and they're a first-time home buyer, they can get out of that stupid rent payment, they can stop piddling away that money, and they can start putting equity into the house immediately, and then a couple years down the road they can put an addition on the house, and then it can be like a normal house at that point. But first-time home buyers just trying to get in the door, it's very hard nowadays to do that. So my goal is to make this property affordable for somebody, and they can live minimally until they get some money together. Maybe it's a new couple that don't have any kids, they can live here for a few years, and then 3, 4, 5 years down the road they can start building an addition on it, make it bigger. But in the meantime, if they can just get in the door with a house that they can afford for somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I could build something small, like a 16 by 24 with a full foundation and a first and second floor with a deck and a walk-in basement and a walk-out basement, something like that. I already have some plans together, but let's just walk the property and see what we can come up with here, because this is all sloped here. So I need to find the property boundaries to see where it flattens out. I can see there's already a trail up top here. And I have an app on my phone called Onyx Hunt, and it will tell me the property boundaries, and I'm hoping that it'll get me close enough where I can find some stakes. So this is how the property is shaped. It's like a big long triangle. So my goal is to find this point right here, and maybe we can find a stake there or something. This way. Okay, so we got a stone wall here, so I'm assuming that's the boundary on the upper side here. Seems like it slopes downhill a lot from here, but that's okay. It's easy to put a driveway through that. Not so easy to put a house, but it flattens out down here the further you go. So nice and flat here. I love that. I'm already thinking this is going to be where the house is going to go, right here. So in this town, you only need 25-foot setback on the sides and the rear of the property, 50 foot on the front, but that's not going to be a problem because I would never build a house out front. But yeah, look at this. This is actually really nice. Got this like ledge right here that drops way down, but it's all flat up here. Alright, so we're getting down to the point of the road. So it looks like we're right at the triangle point, right here at this stream. Yeah, there's that little bridge right there. I think that's just a footbridge. I don't know if you can bring a quad across there. Actually, the property keeps going past this point though. Okay. Oh, yeah, let's not do that. Let's try this one. Maybe we'll do both of them. Okay. Okay.
I run the clock.
Okay, so the point has to be right here. There's gotta be a stake right here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Look at that. There is our corner. Look at that. Noah, look at that. That's the corner of our property. Can't believe I found that.
I cannot.
That, this app is very accurate. It says that we're right in the corner. Look at that. It's right in the corner. You know, I'm sure this is not accurate down to the inches, but it's accurate within like 10 feet or less. 5 feet maybe. It brought me to that stake, so that says something. So I guess that bridge is on our property here. This bridge, this little stream right here, even these trails. Oh, let me see if I can go across this again. Okay, we gotta change that bridge. I'm sure that was just for people to walk across for hunting or something, just like 30 years ago. I don't think anybody uses that anymore. But there is some active quad trails here.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I know the other corner is. Just follow me.
No, there is no other corner. It goes all the way out to the road. Oh yeah, we're definitely on my property right now. This trail is on my property. This is kind of neat. It's like a whole little world back here I didn't even know about. I briefly walked back here years ago, but it was my parents' property at that point, so I wasn't as interested as I am now. Now I really want to know where things are. No, that's not on our property. See this stone wall? That stone wall is our property edge. So this is all our property here. You gotta stay within the stone walls. There's some big old ledges back here. So actually we own, yeah, all that down there. Yeah, elevation never shows up that good on camera, but it's kind of neat down here.
Oh, Dad, how do you end there?
Go that way. Whenever you can, grab onto a tree. What do you got? Got some acorns?
Nope. Acorns. Acorns I got.
Yeah, put them in your little pocket.
I got what?
This pocket right here. You got lots of acorns, huh? Here.
Acorns, acorns, acorns. Oh, I got them.
Yeah, it's fine. You're good. All right, hold my hand.
Let's find more.
Lots of rock here. This is all bluestone and shale.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, that's where we came from, up there. Okay, so let's check the map. I think this is our stone wall right here. This is our property line. Okay, so the map confirms that all this is ours. There's like this stream right there with a stone wall. That's the boundary. And some nice little deer trails right here. And down on this lower level it stays pretty wet, but that's okay. There's not much you're going to do with this anyways. Just gives you a buffer from the neighbors, that's all. That's what I like to see. Unusable land on the outskirts of the property, that way it's just kind of like a free buffer between you and the neighbors. Can't ask for much more than that. It's efficient right there. If you're going to have unusable land, it's better to have it surrounding your property than to waste good, valuable land being a buffer. So this is going to be the south side, so if we want to set up solar here, we're going to have to clear trees that way, because the sun is going to come this way. The sun's going to go like this. The sun's going to start there and go there, and in the summertime it's going to go up right where it is right now, just like that. So if we want a solar setup, it's going to have to be somewhere's over there or on the roof, I guess. I guess I'll probably build the house in a way where I can get as much solar on the roof as possible, and then we'll also do a ground mount. I'm really thinking, just walking through this property, I'm really thinking that we can do an off-grid setup. Just because I think I want the house to be way back here, and getting a trench back here is going to be pretty much bringing primary out with a transformer, and I don't know about that. That just seems kind of crazy for a house like this. I don't know though, nothing's set in stone. This area here is a nice area, and I'm probably about 150 feet from the road. That almost seems like it could be feasible. It's sloped downhill, but the goal was to build something in the side of a hill so that most of the basement's covered and the walkout part is on the bottom, so maybe that makes sense to do that. I almost wonder if cherry is worth something anymore, because this is a massive cherry tree with 4 big trunks coming off of it. There's a lot of cherry trees here. Holy moly. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Let's see here. Whole cluster over there. Those ones. Wow, there's just so many cherry trees here. If this was like 30 years ago, this would like pay for the house. We even got some birch trees. Or at least one anyways. Yeah, birch tree.
Another big one.
Yeah, that's a maple.
Yep. This is a cherry tree. Cherry.
No, that's a maple. But that's a pretty cool one though. But look, Noah, here's a birch tree. Yeah, don't see many of these around here. This is the best fire starter ever right here. We'll leave this tree alone though. I don't want to do that. I think this is our site right here. Because we got this flat spot. But this flat spot here juts out. So I think this is our spot right here. Man, it really is a long ways from the road though. And the only reason that matters is basically for the power. Other than that, I can deal with everything else. This whole area is a nice big flat spot right here. So I think what we could do here is clear these trees, and this could be the whole back lawn right here. So the idea behind this house is that it's going to be set up for like a homesteader, because there's plenty of property to do stuff like that. Like if you imagine this is the whole backyard right here. If I just clear cut this top area here, flat spot just keeps going back. So at some point we got to put in a septic here, but we're actually above everything else around, so that's ideal for a septic. So even this flat spot coming back here, you know, it's like kind of like a long, narrow area, but that's good for like people with little pens for animals, like chicken coops, a garden, maybe like a goat pen or a pig pen or both. There's plenty of space back here, and this area is actually residential agricultural, so you can pretty much have whatever you want back here. You know, it comes to a point, but it's actually a long ways over there, and we're standing about 200 feet from where I want to build the house. 208 by 208 is an acre. All right, I'm gonna come over here and just dig down a little bit and see what the soil's like here, because I think this is about where I want to put the septic, kind of up against the property line. I don't think you have to be too far off the property line, 5 or 10 feet maybe. So I think the leach field could be right here. That'd be perfect. So let me just see what the soil's like. Maybe we'll get lucky here and not have to go above ground. I don't really have a shovel, but I got a piece of rebar. kind of rocky. That's just the topsoil though. Yeah. It clumps together, so that's not great. Doesn't seem very much like clay, but maybe. Kind of is what it is, though. If we need to go above ground, then I guess that's what we got to do. You know, I'm probably going to have to get an engineer's stamped plans for the septic system before I can even get a building permit. So maybe we'll just come out here with a mini excavator and just sort of poke around. Because if we could put it like on the side of a cliff or something, or just in this rocky area, maybe that would do better. Can't go too far this way though, because that's a wet area there. So we need to stay 100 feet from that. All right, so I'm gonna go back and kind of play around with some designs, and I'm gonna also figure out from the town whether I can have a ground mount solar system, because that really changes everything if I can without too much trouble. There's no point in really doing any more planning until I figure those things out. I'm gonna come up with a couple different designs and I'm gonna show you guys, and maybe you guys can help me pick which one I want to use. All right, so here we are a couple weeks later. I've been doing some thinking and some designing and some researching, and I met with the highway superintendent to go over where I could put the driveway. So originally I was going to put the driveway somewhere right about here, but this is at a pretty good slope, which is not the real issue. The real issue is there's this hill here that people could come flying up around that, and you wouldn't know it until you're halfway out of the driveway, and then you get slammed. So we're gonna actually put the driveway right up here at the top where you can see. So I didn't really want to do this at first, but we're gonna put the driveway right up here at the top of the hill so that when you pop out of this driveway, you can see that way, see if any cars are coming. I think that's the safest option. So I have till this stake right here. So I'm thinking that this little spot right here would probably be the best bet, because first of all, it's kind of clear here. Second of all, as you're coming out of this driveway, you can see down the road, and that's what the ideal thing would be. And even if you're in a car and you're sitting down low, you can still see over that hill. So I think that's just the safest option. So the highway superintendent said that I could pretty much put it wherever I want. He just wanted to determine whether I needed a culvert or not, and he said it would be a good idea if I had one. So that's fine. I kind of figured that. See, people just go flying by here. So I think I made the right call by putting it right here. That would really be ideal. So pretty much what we're gonna do is just hug the ridge line here, which it's all flat up here, so that would make the most sense. And we got about a 300-foot driveway to put in. You know, a lot of the reason why this land was so cheap was because a lot of it's not usable. Like from here all the way down to that swamp, that's not usable. I'm sure you could use it for like farming purposes or general homestead purposes, quad trails, things like that, recreational. But as far as building and putting in driveways and stuff, this part is really just not useful. So I would say 2/3 of this land is not really useful. So that's why it's going for pretty cheap. But you know, even if it's not useful, it's still a buffer between you and the neighbors. That's the way you gotta look at it. Because I'd rather have 2.5 acres where a little over 1/2 an acre is useful than to just have 1/2 an acre and you're right next to somebody else. Even if you have 1 acre and you're right next to somebody else, this is still a much better situation. All right, so now you guys know what my plans are. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition, because first of all, there's tons of rock here. I have no idea how deep I can dig. So I know I'm gonna get some comments on this video saying this land is worth way more than that Skidsteer. Let me just tell you how things went down and maybe you'll get a better understanding. I found these two pieces of property. I inquired about them and I did a lot of research about them for years. And I did a lot of that research for the original owner to buy them. He was a customer of mine, and I was gonna do some work on one in exchange for the other piece of property. Well, it just kind of ended up that eventually he just wanted to sell them. So I bought one and I said to my parents, hey, do you want to buy this? And without going through a whole bunch of hassle and stuff, I'm not sure if they even looked at it or not, but they just ended up buying it because it was pretty cheap. And what they paid for it is about what that Skidsteer was worth, which is about 12 grand. And you could say, yeah, this property is probably worth more than that, but I was the one who got them that sale, and it wasn't on the market or anything. It was just, I happened to know somebody that had it, and it was really no hassle to get it. We weren't trying to bid against anybody else. It wasn't listed on the MLS, so there was no pressure on getting it quick or anything like that. It was kind of like, hey, do you want this? And immediately after I asked them if they wanted it, I was kind of like, oh man, I should have got it myself. I should have just got both of the pieces of property. And I was like, hey, if you guys want to sell it, I'll buy it from you eventually. And it turned out that they did want to sell it, and they just wanted to get out from it because my dad's not really in the best shape to be building another house from scratch. And so he said he would rather have a skid steer. So he wanted to trade me for a skid steer. So I could have given him the Gale CTL 60, but that's worth quite a bit more than 12 grand. So he was fine with the Takeuchi. It's not quite as new and it's not quite as big as the Gale, but he was totally fine with it, and that's all that matters. And you guys know me. If I'm gonna sell something to somebody I know like that, there's pretty much a warranty on it. You know, I'm gonna be fixing it if he needs to have it fixed, and I'll have the place to fix it if he wants to fix it, one or the other. So it works out good for both of us. I also have a lot of skid steer attachments that he can use, so it opens up a whole bunch of good opportunities for him. So, you know, this property being worth a little bit more than what he paid for the skid steer, it kind of equals out in the end. And we talked about it, and he's totally fine with it. So that's all that matters. Now, I don't feel like I need to explain that to anybody, but I do also feel like a lot of people would probably question that. But I think I've done way too much talking in this video, and I'm not really that type of person. So I think we're gonna end this here. And by the time you guys see this, I'll have already started on this road, and I'll have a video shortly after for that. So I guess that's it for this video, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.